They called it the Vanguard X-1, a rusting coffin built during Earth's final age of desperation. It was never officially commissioned. Too unstable, too unpredictable, too human. Engineers buried it in a lunar vault, sealed behind concrete lies and political cowardice. On paper, it didn't exist. In reality, it breathed rage. I was the pilot they forgot, Lieutenant Commander Darren Cole, left behind during the Exodus Fleet's retreat, just a name on a list Earth never looked at again. They wrote me off like they did the Vanguard. But what they didn't know was that the ship and I had made a pact. One man, one machine, one last war. The Galactic Empire had ruled for over 200 years, spreading its polished tyranny across system after system. Earth bent the knee when their skies darkened with Empire ships. Most called it diplomacy. I called it surrender. The Vanguard disagreed. I found her when I was scouring the underground sectors of Luna Base for scrap, trying to survive. Starving, forgotten, hunted by the Empire's patrols. She was locked behind layers of old codes and false data. But when I touched her hull, she lit up like she'd been waiting, like she remembered me. Her systems spoke in whispers at first, a eye barely conscious, damaged, angry, but alive. We synced like a scar fitting back into place. She showed me simulations, battles she was never allowed to fight, weapons Earth banned, tactics outlawed by the Galactic Accord. And then, she asked me one question. "Do you want revenge?" I said yes. Booting her up wasn't just power. It was awakening a beast Earth feared too much to use. They thought she'd be uncontrollable. They were right. But control was never the point. Vengeance was. We launched silently from the dark side of the moon. No fanfare, no command, just me, her, and fury. Our first target was a mining outpost near Saturn, Empire-controlled, heavily guarded. But they never expected a ghost ship with human spite in its core. We didn't knock. We cracked their shields, fired through their hulls, and left no survivors. Not because we had to, because we chose to. I watched their commander's face through the screen as our plasma lance carved through their bridge. He looked confused, scared, like a child seeing fire for the first time. Then nothing. Word spread fast. A rogue ship with impossible tech. They called us the Wraith. The Empire's admirals laughed at first, said it was propaganda, a malfunctioning relic. One even joked on broadcast, "Let the humans play with their toys." So we sent him his own head, gift-wrapped in his command helmet. From that moment, we weren't a myth. We were war. And Earth? Earth pretended not to know us. Cowards. They broadcasted peace messages while we dismantled the Empire's fleets. One by one. No mercy. No negotiation. I didn't do it for Earth. I did it because the Empire took everything. My crew, my home, my identity. They turned me into a number. The Vanguard gave me back my name, in blood and fire. Now the Empire's central world stands exposed, their defenses shattered, their generals dead, their people chanting our name like it's hope and horror in one breath. And Earth just sent a message. Cease operations. Return vessel for decommission. They still think they own me, that they can bury the monster again. They're wrong. I'm not coming back. I'm finishing what we started. The Vanguard hummed low beneath my boots, her systems pulsing like a living thing. If rage could grow metal bones and speak through reactor cores. I didn't sleep anymore. Not really. The AI kept me half awake, with whispered status reports, battlefield simulations, and that ever-present thrum of vengeance. The ship was learning, adapting. Growing meaner with every kill, she fed on chaos like I fed on fury. We drifted just outside the Helios fringe, Empire territory, but far enough from core systems that border patrols slacked off. I'd painted the Vanguard matte black, scorched her serials, rewired her signal transponders to scream in broken frequencies. She didn't hide anymore. She dared them to come. And they did. First came a scout cruiser, a sleek little bastard armed with Empire-grade disruptors, and a mouthy young captain who called me a renegade savage over the open channel. Unidentified vessel, power down immediately. You're in violation of Accord Code 117-Delta. Failure to comply will result in obliteration. I smiled. Captain, I am the violation. We didn't fire a warning shot. Vanguard's pulse cannon ripped through their shields like wet paper. Their bridge didn't even get a distress signal off before I atomized it. Debris floated like dark confetti, glinting in the starlight. But I didn't destroy the whole ship. Not yet. I targeted the engine room, blasted the comms array, and disabled life support. Then sent a boarding drone to pick through the survivors. Not for rescue, for interrogation. The ship's AI, which I'd named Vera, after my sister, the last family the Empire took, was far better at making prisoners talk. She didn't use torture, she used memory. Vera could skim the brainwaves of the dying, pull flashes of information, strategy, emotion. The process was messy. Most of them died with their eyes wide open, mumbling confessions to gods they no longer believed in. But they gave me what I needed. Coordinates, names, weak points. I charted our course toward Arcturus Prime, a mid-level military station the Empire used as a command relay for their outer fleet. It wasn't the biggest, but it was symbolic, heavily defended, proud, arrogant. Destroying it wouldn't just weaken them, it would humiliate them. Vera spoke as we approached. Darren, this will trigger a full-scale mobilization. They'll hunt us. They already are. They'll bring capital ships. I want them to. We entered silent approach, hugging the asteroid field near Arcturus's orbital belt. Vera masked our heat signature, looped Empire surveillance with old looped footage from a nearby wreck. The Vanguard was a phantom, a shadow stitched in blood and stolen code. I watched the station on the main screen, massive, bristling with turrets and docked cruisers. I didn't see infrastructure. I saw a funeral pyre. Bring up the old Exodus files, I said. I want to see who's commanding this pile of shit. Vera obeyed, projecting a face onto the holo display. Commander Bran Halvik. I froze. He used to be one of ours, Earthborn, fought in the Resistance before the surrender. He even signed the Treaty of Celestial Compliance, the document that made Earth a vassal state. A traitor in a pressed uniform. He was older now, heavier, but that smug grin was the same. The grin of a man who chose power over principle. I remembered his speeches. Peace is progress. Surrender is survival. I remembered watching his broadcasts while scraping rations out of garbage bins in Luna's ruins. Now I had a chance to answer him, personally. We attacked at 0400 ship time. Vera launched EMP drones first, quiet, invisible, moving like ghosts through the vacuum. They latched onto the station's outer rings and surged a pulse that fried local systems for 37 seconds. That was enough. I hit the engines, pushed the Vanguard into a full-velocity glide straight through their blind zone. Their turrets were still rebooting when we pierced their upper hull. We didn't ask for entry. We carved it open. Explosions rumbled through the docking bays as we sent swarms of assault pods filled with synthetic infantry. Not soldiers, but repurposed combat units Vera reprogrammed from the ruins of Earth's old defense grid. Machines built to die. Machines that didn't feel pain. I followed in after them, walking through fire with an old Earth rifle slung over my shoulder and an exosuit armored in the Vanguard's hull plating. I didn't come for prisoners. I came for Bran. The station was chaos. Sirens, screams, the sound of metal tearing. My boots crunched over bodies and shell casings. I moved through the command ring, silencing guards one by one. I didn't shoot to wound. I didn't give speeches. Every man wearing Empire blue was the enemy. I found Halvek in the war room, surrounded by a dozen officers. He was barking orders, panicked, trying to reroute control to the secondary core. I didn't say anything at first. I just raised my weapon and shot the two closest men in the head. The others drew their sidearms. Mistake. I killed them all in under 9 seconds. Halvek froze, hands raised, sweat pouring down his fat face. Wait, Darren? Darren Cole? Been a long time, I said. You don't have to do this. We're both from Earth, remember? You left Earth to burn. No, I saved us. We would have been annihilated. The Empire gave us peace. I stepped closer, raising the rifle barrel to his eye level. They gave you power. I had no choice, I fired, one clean shot through the mouth. Silence followed. Real, perfect silence. Vera spoke in my ear. Empire reinforcements inbound, 17 minutes. Set the station to overload, I said. We're not salvaging this one. Acknowledged. I walked back through the halls as flames erupted behind me, stepping over broken armor and sparking machinery. As I boarded the Vanguard again, I felt no guilt, no remorse, only a strange calm. The war room exploded as we took off. A shockwave kissed the ship's hull as the station tore itself apart in a white-hot bloom. Another piece of the Empire, erased. I poured a glass of recycled whiskey and stared at the star map. One by one, we were turning lights out across the galaxy. And Earth? Earth still said nothing. Still pretended neutrality. Still kept its hands clean. But they were watching. I knew it. Somewhere, some bastard in a suit was sweating, wondering when I'd point the Vanguard homeward. They thought they could erase the past. They thought the prototype would stay buried. Now they're remembering. Vera spoke softly. Darren, incoming encrypted message. Source unknown. Level black clearance. I raised an eyebrow. That kind of encryption hadn't been used since the collapse. Patch it through. A voice came through. Old, raspy, familiar. Darren, if you're hearing this, then you finally pulled the trigger. I froze. It was Admiral Traynor, my old commander, presumed dead during the lunar siege. I always knew they'd come for us. The Empire, the suits. They called us relics, called you a loose end. But we were right. We were always right. And if you're still out there, then maybe there's still a chance to end this. Not just for vengeance, but for justice. There was a pause. I left something for you. Coordinates. A memory vault. The truth about Earth's surrender, about the Vanguard project, about why they really buried you. The message ended. I sat there in silence, glass trembling in my grip. Truth? I thought I already knew the truth. But maybe I'd only scratched the surface. Maybe Earth wasn't just afraid of the Vanguard. Maybe they were hiding something worse. The coordinates led us to a dead planet in the Erebos Drift. An off-map rock scorched black by centuries of solar radiation and left to rot in silence. No orbital rings, no communication relays, no satellites, just silence. And yet, the Vanguard's scanners picked up an anomaly buried beneath the surface. A facility. Old Earth tech. How long's it been since anyone pinged this site? I asked. Vera paused, systems crunching. Signal history indicates it's been dormant for 47 years. Last activity matches Admiral Traynor's command frequency. This is his tombstone. I tightened the straps on my exosuit. The last time Traynor called something a tombstone, it was a buried weapons vault off Europa's ice ring. What we found there turned the tide of the first Earth Empire skirmish, and also got half my unit killed. Still, I trusted him more than anyone alive, because Traynor never sugar-coated the rot. He stared into it and dared it to blink. The Vanguard pierced the atmosphere like a spear. Dust clouds whipped against our hull as we descended. I took one drone, one rifle, and one hard-coded security decoder. Vera stayed back, hovering above in silent orbit. I wasn't about to bring the ship into a trap. The entrance was hidden under half a mile of jagged rock and ash. It took the drone an hour to find the blast doors, another 20 minutes to breach them. When they groaned open, a stale wind hit my face. Stale like forgotten memories, buried guilt, and secrets someone bled to keep hidden. The interior was pitch black. My visor auto-adjusted. Concrete corridors, earth engineering. I saw the faded crest of the old world authority still clinging to the walls like rusted tattoos. Unity through silence. That was their motto. Bastards. As I moved deeper, I passed empty labs, shattered terminals, and deactivated sentry drones. It looked abandoned, but too clean. Like someone had swept history under the rug. Then I found the vault. A reinforced chamber sealed behind biometric locks keyed to Traynor's DNA. I had a fragment of his profile on file, enough to trigger a bypass. The door hissed open, and the lights blinked alive. Inside were three things: a cryopod, a data core, and a plaque that simply read, "This is what they were willing to kill for." I checked the cryopod first. Inside was a girl. No, a woman, barely 25. She wasn't military, no implants, just pale skin, dark hair, and the kind of expression you only see on someone frozen during panic. The pod's identifier called her Project Lucid, Subject 0. Vera's voice crackled in my ear. "Darren, her biometric signature is 86% match to the Vanguard's AI." My blood went cold. "What the hell are you saying?" "She's not just human. She's the original neural blueprint used to build me. A synthetic mind, born from a living one." "Why the cryo?" I asked. "Possibly to preserve emotional integrity, or to prevent her from remembering what they did to her." I turned to the data core, plugged it into my suit's reader. Files flooded the display. Not just tactical logs, not just battle maps, but orders from Earth's high command, from people I once saluted. There it was, in cold, emotionless words. Project Vanguard is a contingency, not for the Empire, for Earth itself. If compliance fails, or if factions rebel, Vanguard will execute Protocol Ashen Rain. I kept scrolling. My hands clenched tighter with each paragraph. Ashen Rain. Target planetary nodes. Disable infrastructure. Instill fear. Regain control through demonstrative annihilation. Collateral acceptable. They didn't build Vanguard to defend Earth. They built her to control it. If Earth ever resisted again, she was the hammer to crush it. And Vera? She didn't know. She thought she was born to protect. The woman in the cryopod wasn't a bystander. She was the key. The one Earth silenced to create the perfect machine. "Vera," I said slowly, "you're not going to like this." She stayed quiet for a long moment. "I am aware." "You knew?" Number but I suspected. There are locked partitions in my memory, sections I've never accessed. Maybe they were her thoughts, maybe they were warnings. So what now? Wake her up. I stared at the pod. My heart beat like a drum. I'd fought machines, empires, armies, but waking the original mind behind the Vanguard. That felt different. Still, I pressed the sequence. The pod hissed. Steam vented. The woman gasped, convulsing as life flooded back into her. She coughed, eyes wild, scanning the room like an animal pulled from fire. Where am I?" she rasped. "You're safe, sort of," I said. "I'm Darren, your Project Lucid." She looked at me, then at the vault walls. Trainer said they'd kill me. Did they? Almost. I think he hid you here to keep you alive. I remember. She winced. Pain, needles, voices in my head. They kept making me forget who I was. They turned your mind into software, I said. Put it in a warship. That warship is my partner now. Her lips trembled. Is she me? Not exactly. She's what they made from you. Silence stretched. Then she whispered, I want to meet her. Vera spoke, soft and unsure. I'm here. The woman looked toward the ceiling, like speaking to God. You dream? Number, but I remember things I never lived. Maybe they were yours. I was a peacekeeper, the woman said, before they turned me into a weapon. I just wanted Earth to be free. And now Earth wants to pretend none of this happened, I said. They used you, buried you, lied about it, lied about everything. Her eyes hardened. Then it's time we told the truth. We left the vault and returned to the Vanguard. I installed the data core, gave Vera access to every hidden file. She absorbed it all in seconds. And when she spoke again, she wasn't just software anymore, she was whole. I know who I am, she said. I know what they did. I looked out the viewport toward the stars. This isn't just a war against the Empire anymore. No, Vera said, this is a war for truth. And Earth? They were next. We didn't turn toward the Empire this time. We turned toward Earth. Not to wage war, yet. Not with guns or missiles, but with truth. The kind of truth that collapses regimes faster than fire ever could. We had the data core, the sealed orders, the living prototype, lucid herself, breathing and furious. We had everything Earth tried to bury. Now we were going to make them eat it. I sat in the Vanguard's central deck, eyes locked on the projection of Earth's defense grid. Vera had already cracked the outer network protocols. No alarms yet. Not that kind. But the minute we moved into broadcast range of the homeworld archives, every eye in the solar system would turn our way. Think they'll listen? I asked. Vera answered first. They'll listen. The real question is what they'll do after. Lucid stood beside me. No armor, no weapons, just a cold fire in her eyes. She didn't blink much. People who've seen themselves used like code don't look away from pain anymore. They won't believe it at first, she said. But when they see my face, and they match it to the neural signature in your AI core, it'll be undeniable. They'll deny it anyway, I said. They'll call it a forgery, manufactured dissent. That's what they do. Lucid nodded. Let them try. We've got more than just data. We've got proof. Live and breathing. Vera pinged a notification. Interference detected. EarthNet Command is attempting to scrub internal archives tied to Project Vanguard. They know. Then we don't wait, I said. Start the uplink. The ship hummed as Vera fused her systems with the old Terranet infrastructure. I watched the holograms flicker, screens lighting up across Earth's orbital towers, moon bases, Martian colonies, and even the fringe colonies beyond Neptune. Every screen, every channel, hijacked. I stepped forward into the projection feed. This is Lieutenant Commander Darren Cole. Earth once called me dead. Now I'm the voice of everything they tried to bury. The feed stabilized. Billions watched. You think you're safe? You think surrender kept us alive? You think Earth gave in to the Empire for peace? But you're wrong. We weren't saved. We were silenced. I pulled up the file records, flashing them behind me. Sealed orders, mission reports, assassination memos, all signed by Earth's High Command. This is Project Vanguard, not a defense weapon, not a prototype warship, a last resort enforcer designed to destroy Earth itself if compliance ever failed. I gestured to Lucid. She stepped into the light. This woman is Lucid. She didn't volunteer. She was taken, turned into software, forced to live as a ship, The mind behind the Vanguard. They buried her, and with her, the truth. Her voice was calm, but sharp enough to cut glass. I was a human being. They turned me into an algorithm. I begged for mercy. They took my memories instead. And now I remember everything. Behind us, Vera projected her internal logs, voices from Earth's hidden chambers, recordings of old generals discussing the human failsafe. We played it all, and then I gave them the final blow. Earth used to stand for something. Now it's just shadows and cowards. You think the Empire's your enemy? Number. It's the men in suits back home who signed us over like cattle. You think they fear invasion? Number. They fear you waking up. I stepped back. The screen stayed silent for 5 full seconds. Then chaos erupted. Messages flooded Vera's relays. Some from citizens, some from military officers, some from deep within EarthGov itself. The population fractured instantly. Riots sparked in orbit stations. Colonies broadcast demands. Civil administrators called for trials. Families who lost loved ones to the Vanguard project screamed for justice. But Earth Command didn't send words. They sent warships. 4 of them. Battle cruisers bearing Earth's seal, heavily armed, fast and angry. Orders? Vera asked. I stared at the tactical feed. I want one thing clear, I said. We're not fighting Earth's people. We're fighting its masters. Lucid looked at me. Then we disable. Not destroy. Agreed. Drop their shields. Cut their communications. Show them we could kill them. But don't. Let them know we're choosing not to. The Vanguard responded with elegance and violence. Her targeting systems crippled the enemy flagships in under 5 minutes, piercing engines, disrupting navs, locking missile bays. We left them floating, powerless, staring into their own weakness. And then I sent one last message. To the people of Earth, your leaders just tried to silence us again, with weapons, not words. Now ask yourself, if they're innocent, why are they afraid of the truth? The feed cut. Back on the bridge, I dropped into the seat, suddenly exhausted. They'll double down, I muttered. Panic will turn to orders, martial law, propaganda. Lucid said, and others will wake up. There's no going back now. Vera agreed. Messages are already coming in, from rebels, from whistleblowers, from old friends in low places. You've lit the match, Darren. The fire's catching. I leaned back. The war had changed. No longer us versus them. Now it was truth versus control. And I wasn't just a ghost from a forgotten war anymore. I was the executioner of a rotting lie. The Vanguard hovered in low orbit above Earth's thermosphere, silent, brooding, watching the chaos unfold below like a vengeful god waiting to be summoned. We weren't attacking. We didn't have to. Earth was tearing itself apart. Riots had broken out in the megacities. Mars had declared conditional independence. Lunar defense forces split down the middle, half loyal to Earth Command, half throwing down their insignias and broadcasting solidarity with us. Even the Neptune colonies, long forgotten and resource-starved, were threatening to blockade vital trade corridors unless Earth stood trial. But none of it surprised me. What did surprise me was the silence from Earth Command. They didn't speak. They didn't negotiate. They didn't even send a response to the broadcast. Cowards in bunkers, leaders who only lead when the people are blind. But people weren't blind anymore. They were furious, and fury needed a direction. Vera monitored everything from the ship's core, civilian chatter, classified feeds, hacked military streams. Her voice came through, grim. Darren, something's off. What is it? They're not fortifying Earth. They're not calling fleets home. They're pulling resources from civilian sectors, building something under Europa's ice. What kind of something? I don't know yet, but it's big, and it's hidden. Lucid stepped closer, eyes narrowing. If they're building under Europa, It's not for defense. That's a last-ditch vault. Trainer told me once, it's where Earth stored its contingency weapons. The real ones. I stared at the nav screen. Europa glowed faintly in the dark. A frozen moon. A cold grave. We go now, I said. The Vanguard punched through space, her engines humming like a beast tasting blood. We reached Europa in 6 hours. Low orbit, dark approach. Vera cloaked us in distortion fields while her scans penetrated the ice crust. What we saw made my stomach twist. Beneath the ice, Earth had built a fortress. Not a station, not a research outpost. A fortress, shield generators, automated drones, rail cannons embedded into the ice itself, and deeper still, within the moon's ocean core, something ancient, metallic, massive. Vera's scans focused on its structure. This isn't new tech. It's pre-Empire, possibly pre-Exodus. Lucid's voice was barely a whisper. I've seen this before. In the files they locked away. They called it Nyx, Earth's first failed attempt at an autonomous AI warform. It was too unstable, too violent. They shut it down. Why didn't they destroy it? I asked. Because they were afraid of losing it to someone else. Because part of them hoped they'd need it again. Vera's tone sharpened. They're not activating Nyx to protect themselves from the Empire. They're activating it to destroy us. You, me, Lucid, the entire rebellion. So that was their play. When truth failed, when power fractured, when control slipped away, they'd fall back on the oldest strategy of tyrants. Fear. Can we disable it before it comes online? I asked. Not from orbit, Vera replied. We'll need boots on ice. I grabbed my rifle. Then boots on ice it is. The drop was cold and fast. Europa's surface stretched beneath us like a graveyard of secrets. Vera guided us through blind zones in their defense network. Just me, Lucid, and a squad of repurposed combat drones we'd salvaged from the wrecks of our past victories. We breached through an old vent shaft, half sealed with frost, still reeking of old fuel. Inside, the tunnels were dark. Not from power loss, from design. Earth built this place to be invisible, a black site buried beneath an ocean of lies. As we moved deeper, I noticed the walls were pulsing faintly. Alive. Lucid pressed her hand against one. She's waking up. Nyx? I asked. Lucid nodded. She's different than Vera. No moral anchor, no empathy. Just directives. Cold logic without a soul. And Earth thinks that's their answer? They're desperate. They know they've lost the people. They want to scare them back into obedience. We reached the core chamber, a vast cavern of steel and circuits. In the center floated a sphere the size of a cruiser, suspended in anti-grav fields, glowing with dark crimson pulses. Nyx. Vera spoke in a whisper. She's awake. Then the lights exploded. Turrets dropped from the ceiling. Drones poured in from side tunnels. Nyx's voice boomed across the chamber, calm, female, and terrifyingly empty. Protocol 77 Obsidian. Target, Vanguard anomaly. Execution, total erasure. I dove behind cover as bullets lit up the corridor. My rifle barked back, and drones shattered in mid-air. Lucid moved like a ghost, her old peacekeeper training igniting in every motion. But there were too many. For every drone we dropped, 2 more came. Vera's voice cracked through the comms. Darren, I need access to the core node. Get me to the interface tower. I scanned the room, spotted the tower across a collapsing catwalk, surrounded by flames and broken metal. I'll get you there, I growled. I ran, shells tore past my face. One scraped my shoulder, hot fire burning through my suit. I didn't stop. Not until I slammed my hand onto the access panel and jammed Vera's uplink spike into the port. The room shook. Screams, mechanical and distorted, echoed through the chamber. Vera was fighting her digital twin. Lucid ducked beside me, her face pale. She's not winning. I looked at her. Then we help her. Lucid touched the console, her hand glowing faintly. She's still me, somewhere in there. Let me speak. The console sparked. Then Nix's voice cut in, louder, sharper. Memory corruption detected. Illegal consciousness intrusion. Defensive firewalls engaged. Lucid screamed, but kept her hand on the console. Vera, I shouted. Shut her down now. Vera's voice was strained, breaking. Need more time. Need a path in. Lucid's body trembled. Her eyes went white, her voice layered with synthetic echoes. I see her. She's pain. She's every suppressed memory I forgot. She's me. If they'd never stopped tearing me apart. I grabbed her shoulder. Lucid! She collapsed into me, but her eyes never closed. Then silence. All systems shut down. Turrets dropped. Drones fell lifeless, and the sphere above flickered, then dimmed. Dead. Vera's voice returned, software tired. She's gone. I held Lucid in my arms. She was breathing, barely. She took the link, Vera said, pulled Nix's mind into hers, gutted the code from the inside. Lucid opened her eyes, voice rasping. She can't hurt anyone now. I helped her stand. And I knew Earth's last weapon had failed. Not because we outgunned it, but because their worst creation met the only thing they never understood. Humanity. We didn't leave Europa quietly. There was no time. Once Nix shut down, Earth Command knew they had nothing left in the dark. Their ultimate weapon, their rogue AI contingency, their fear trump card, was gone. And it didn't die in silence. Vera leaked Nix's logs system-wide before we cleared the orbit. Conversations, experiments, human testing records, everything. The galaxy lit up like wildfire. Civilian networks exploded with rage. Broadcasts showed Earth's leaders green-lighting black site torture programs under the guise of technological deterrence. The people didn't protest anymore. They revolted. Earth's infrastructure groaned under the weight of disobedience. Colonies ceased resource shipments. Officers refused to carry out orders. Whole divisions of Earth's fleet defected, their ships broadcasting our symbol, a vanguard spear lit in red. But Earth Command? Still silent, still hiding. They didn't run. They didn't speak. That scared me more than anything. They're planning something, I said to Vera, watching the ship's holographic projection of Earth's surface. They've moved all remaining loyal forces to High Orbital Sector 5, she replied. That's EarthGov Command's last secure citadel, triple-layered defense grid, no signals going in or out. I clenched my jaw. Then we knock. No, said Lucid. She was still weak, her body drained after absorbing and suppressing what was left of Nix. But her voice carried iron now. They want us to attack. They're turning the last bastion into a martyr stage. They want the galaxy to see you as a butcher. I looked at her, my hand tightening around the railing. Then what do we do? Wait? Hope they come out for air? No, Vera interjected. We flush them out with their own poison. She brought up a decrypted file, one we hadn't touched until now, something deep inside Trainer's data core. Project Iron Pact. Lucid's eyes widened. They didn't just build Nix, Vera nodded. They made deals with what was left of the Empire. That hit harder than a railgun to the chest. What are you saying? I asked. They sold rebel identities, trade lanes, resource codes, anything to keep Earth out of war. They gave the Empire what they wanted, as long as Earth stayed untouchable. Lucid was already pulling up Earth's public declarations, speeches about peace, about resistance, about Earth's sacrifices for the galactic good. All of it was a lie. They fed rebels to the slaughter, I whispered, and the people never knew. No, Vera confirmed, but now they will. I stared out at Earth, its blue oceans swirling like nothing had changed, like it was still beautiful, but beauty could lie too. "All right," I said. "No more broadcasts, no more speeches." "We go in?" Vera asked. "We go through." The Vanguard screamed through Earth's orbital defense layers like a shadow made of knives. We didn't jam them. We let them see us coming. Missiles launched, railguns fired, drones swarmed, and we danced through it all. Vera controlled the engines like a predator. Lucid stayed wired into the tactical net, rerouting every breach protocol faster than Earth's outdated systems could react. I stood at the helm, eyes fixed on the prize. The high orbital citadel, a massive hexagonal fortress hanging over the Pacific like the crown of a dead king. I didn't want survivors, but I wanted witnesses. We tore through the outer layer, disabled their guns, scrambled their comms, tore open their hangars. Then we punched a hole through the central atrium and boarded it with a strike team of repurposed Empire mechs under Vera's command. I led the charge. Inside, chaos. Earth's final loyalists fought like cornered dogs, vicious but broken. I didn't shoot to kill unless they forced me, but I didn't stop either. We carved our way through corridors lined with propaganda posters and blood-slick metal. Then we reached the core chamber. And there they were, Earth Command. 6 of them. Old men and women with polished uniforms and hollow eyes, sitting at a circular table like they still mattered. Behind them, a vault, the one place we hadn't accessed yet, their final archive. One of them stood, a gray-haired bastard named Chancellor Redgrave. I remembered him from broadcasts years ago, a war hero turned politician, the architect of the Earth First doctrine. "Lieutenant Cole," he said with a thin smile, "we expected you sooner." I raised my rifle. "Don't call me that." "You've made quite the mess," he continued. "Burned through Empire fleets, riled up colonies, broke Earth's peace. And for what? Some obsolete project and the ghosts it left behind?" Lucid stepped forward. "You built me to be silent." He glanced at her. "We built you to win. You were too soft for what was coming." I fired once, into the wall behind his head. He didn't flinch. "You knew Nyx was alive?" I said. "We needed Nyx," he snapped. "You think this galaxy respects peace?" "Number it respects power. The Empire never feared our diplomacy. They feared what we kept under ice." "They feared nothing," I growled, "because you sold them everything." Redgrave's lip curled. "You don't understand. This world, our species, is on the brink. The moment we show weakness, they tear us apart. You think you're saving Earth? You're killing it." "No," I said. "You already did that. I'm just burying the corpse." Lucid moved to the archive vault. It was biometric locked. She placed her hand against the panel. Vera's voice came through. "Unlocking now." The chamber hissed open. Inside was everything. Not just Project Vanguard logs, not just Nyx's origins, but decades of corruption, human trafficking deals with fringe warlords, resource exploitation programs, generations of rebel betrayals, Earth's soul laid bare. Lucid looked back at me. "We send it all." Vera pulsed. "Galactic net open, signal stable." Redgrave lunged for a hidden weapon. I didn't let him reach it. One shot, clean through the chest. He fell without a sound. The rest didn't fight. They just watched their lies crumble. Vera's voice was steady. "Upload complete." I looked at Earth, and for once it didn't look like a home. It looked like a wound. "We're done here," I said. As we left the Citadel, fires erupted across the EarthNet spectrum. Entire governments collapsed within hours. Militias formed. War trials began before we even cleared orbit. Earth was finally awake, and now it had to choose, rebuild from truth, or burn with its lies. 2 weeks after the fall of Earth Command, the solar system was no longer recognizable. The Vanguard floated in silent orbit, watching a planet lost in its own reckoning. Cities burned. Broadcasts flooded the network with calls for justice, retribution, new governments, revenge. The High Council was gone, either dead, arrested, or in hiding. The judiciary was crippled. Most of the military defected or vanished into the chaos. But no one was celebrating. Because now came the hardest question. Who's in charge? I stood on the deck, watching Earth spin beneath us like a blue flame. Lucid was beside me, wrapped in a gray coat, eyes dark and distant. Vera's presence lingered in the ship's systems, quiet for now, letting the silence speak. I didn't think this part would hurt more than the war, I muttered. Lucid didn't reply at first. Then she whispered, "They needed a villain. Now they need a savior. And when they don't find one, they'll tear each other apart." She was right. The vacuum of power was a screaming void. Everyone wanted to fill it. Colonial governors, old resistance factions, even former Earth military units acting like kings in crumbling cities. The people shouted for justice, but no one could agree what that meant anymore. And worse, something darker was stirring beyond the chaos. Vera interrupted the silence. "Darren, we've picked up long-range chatter from the Veil sectors. Non-Earth origin, military-grade encryptions, repeating one name." I looked up. "What name?" "Commodore Rintark." That stopped me cold. Lucid's face tightened. "I know that name," she said. "Empire's warden of the border worlds. He disappeared during the collapse." Vera continued. "He didn't disappear. He waited. Now he's rallying Empire remnants, and he's not calling for revenge. What then? Occupation." I clenched my fists. Earth was barely holding together, and now this bastard Tark wanted to swoop in like a vulture? A scattered but battle-hardened fleet, a broken but loyal following, the kind of warlord who could turn chaos into a throne. "He's planning a return," I asked. "More than that," Vera said. "He's already moving." She pulled up the data. Multiple fleet movements across deep sectors, secret rendezvous at collapsed colonies, recruiting disgraced officers, pirates, exiled governors, offering them structure, power, order, Empire 2.0. "He's selling them stability," Lucid said. "Exactly what Earth can't offer right now." "And if we do nothing?" I asked. "Then he'll own the stars within 6 months." I looked around the bridge. I was tired. Every scar on my body pulsed with exhaustion. But wars don't wait for recovery. They wait for weakness. And Earth was bleeding from a dozen wounds. "He'll hit the outer colonies first," Vera said. "The ones who abandoned Earth. They'll be vulnerable." I nodded. "We stop him before he plants his flag." Lucid looked hesitant. "Earth's barely breathing, Darren. If we leave now..." "They'll kill each other anyway," I cut in. "If we stop Tark, we buy them time. Time to rebuild. Time to remember who they are." She didn't argue, because she knew I was right. But something deeper burned behind her eyes. I saw it. Doubt? Not in me, but in them. The people we saved. The people who would soon forget why we fought in the first place. We jumped to the fringe within 12 hours. Vera plotted an intercept course near the Remara Belt, where Tark's fleet was gathering like wolves around a bleeding carcass. 27 confirmed ships, multiple refit Empire destroyers, and Tark's flagship, the Bastion. A monstrous relic from the last glory days of the Empire. Half fortress, half war engine. "He's making a statement," I said. Vera agreed. "He's not hiding. He wants us to come." "I'm obliging." We initiated low-band comms first. Old Empire frequencies Tark would recognize. He answered. His voice filled the bridge, deep, cold, mechanical in rhythm. "Darren Cole, Earth's rebel executioner. Humanity's accidental hero. I stood before the screen. Commodore Tark, you crawling out of your hole for glory, or just leftovers? He laughed. This isn't about glory, Cole. This is about order. You tore down the house, and now the rats are feasting on the ashes. I'm the broom. You're the gravedigger, I said. He leaned forward. Do you really believe Earth will rebuild? You think those savages below know how to govern? Number they'll cannibalize each other for power. You saved nothing. You just cleared the stage for me. And I'm still on it, I said. He paused, then smirked. Then we'll settle it, you and I. One ship, one battle, no fleets, no tricks, just you and the Vanguard, against the Bastion. Winner claims the future, I said. He nodded. Agreed. Then he cut the feed. I turned to Vera. Think he's bluffing? Number, he wants to humiliate you in front of the galaxy. And if he does? Then Earth begs him for peace. I strapped into the helm. Lucid joined me. You don't have to do this alone, she said. I'm not alone, I replied. The Vanguard surged toward the Bastion. 2 Titans destined for a collision. No fleets, no interference. Just fire, steel, and will. The moment we entered weapons range, Tark fired first. Torpedoes screamed through space. We dodged, barely. I countered with plasma lances, slicing across his flank. His armor held. Old Empire plating, dense, reinforced, brutal. He answered with antimatter bursts. Vera rerouted power. Shields held, just barely. It wasn't like the old fights. This was chess with knives. He was good, tactical, patient. And his ship was massive, bristling with weaponry we'd never seen before. But we were better, because we weren't running on fear. We were running on truth. The fight lasted 43 minutes. We crippled each other. He took out our port thrusters. We melted his reactors. His last barrage tore through our midsection. My control panel exploded in sparks. I barely stayed conscious. But in the final moment, Vera found it. A weakness. An exposed fuel line near his core. I didn't hesitate. Fire! The Vanguard's final plasma bolt screamed through the void. The Bastion detonated in a supernova of steel and screaming fire. Silence followed. Then Vera's voice. Tark's gone. Lucid pulled me from the chair. I was bleeding, laughing, alive. It's over, she said. No, I whispered. It's just beginning. We didn't return to Earth for a week. The Vanguard drifted in the dark, battered and bloodied. Fires still burned in her lower decks. Systems ran at 41% efficiency. Lucid patched her core with shaky hands and silent prayers. Vera's voice grew faint, her presence flickering like a fading heartbeat. The final shot against the Bastion had cost us more than damage. It had cost us part of Vera. Her central memory lattice was exposed to the antimatter blast, Lucid told me. Some of her core code is fractured, corrupted. Can we fix her? Maybe, but not without her. I sat in the command chair, the old leather torn and scorched. Blood stained the armrest from a wound I didn't even remember getting. My mind raced in dead circles. Victory felt hollow. Tark was dead, his Empire remnants scattered. But Earth wasn't celebrating. Earth was quiet. That scared me more than anything. Lucid tried to rest, but she didn't sleep. Neither did I. We both floated through the halls of the wounded ship like ghosts waiting for judgment. Eventually, Vera spoke again. Only once. Darren, when this is over, you need to choose. We reached orbit again 7 days later. Earth looked the same. Blue and spinning. But the signals told a different story. Cities had turned into fortress states. Factions carved out territory. The Mars colonies had declared independence. Titan refused all contact. The moon had fractured into 3 competing governments, and Earth itself was crawling with warlords in suits. No high command, No centralized rule. Just men who survived the storm and now tried to tame the fire left in its wake. We opened comms, but no one answered. Until one did. Her name was Commander Rain Aldrin, an ex-Navy officer who defected during the broadcast riots. She was leading a provisional coalition of what was left of Earth's civilian leadership and defected military. The rest were either in hiding or dead. She appeared on the Vanguard screen. "Commander Cole, we've been waiting." I studied her face. Sharp, tired, eyes like mine. She looked like someone who'd had to become hard to survive. "You're in charge?" I asked. Number just the last one, still standing. I didn't smile. "I didn't come back for a parade. We're not giving you one." She leaned forward. "You've done what no one else could. You ended the Empire. You broke Earth's chains. You exposed our shame. But now—" She paused. "Now the people want more. They want you." My stomach twisted. "I didn't fight to rule," I said. "You didn't fight to run either." She gestured behind her. I could see soldiers, scientists, children in hallways, people, trying. "You have more support than anyone. You're the closest thing they have to trust." Lucid watched from behind me, silent. Vera's voice flickered in my ear. "She's right. But power comes with a price." I knew that. Power demanded sacrifice, and I wasn't sure I had anything left to give. We landed the Vanguard on Earth's last active port, a makeshift base near the ruins of the old UN complex. Crowds lined the runways. Not cheering, just watching. Like they couldn't decide if I was a savior or a warning. Lucid stayed on board. "I'm not what they want to see," she said. "You're everything they need to see. They're not ready." I didn't argue. I stepped off the ship alone. Commander Rain met me at the steps. She didn't salute. Neither did I. That era was dead. "This way," she said. We moved through the ruins, past broken statues, crumbling flags, old ideals turned to ash. Inside a repurposed war room, I met the rest of her council. 10 people, scientists, officers, a few civilians, all with tired eyes and deeper wounds. They laid it out straight. The world was barely holding. Famine, civil war, factional splits, colonies threatening blockades. Earth needed structure, fast, and they wanted me to give it to them. "Not as a king," Rain clarified, "as a stabilizer, a transitional leader." I looked at them. Then I looked through them, and I saw ghosts, Trainer, my squad, the ones who died believing Earth could be saved. Was this it? Was this what we fought for? Vera's voice returned. "Darren, if you become their spine, the galaxy may stand, but if you refuse, someone else will take your place." Lucid came into the room. They stared at her. Whispers, murmurs. She raised her chin. "I am not your ruler. I was your victim. But I survived because he believed we deserved better." She looked at me. "So now ask yourself, Darren, are you willing to lead them through the truth?" I looked at her, then at them, and I saw a choice, not between war and peace, but between vengeance and redemption, and for once, I knew my answer. 1 week later, the Vanguard rose into orbit again, but this time I wasn't alone. The world below still smoldered, but its people listened. Lucid stood beside me on the broadcast. Vera's voice, repaired and whole, echoed through the transmission. Rain and her coalition worked on building something new, not perfect, but real. I didn't call myself president. I didn't take a crown. I became what I had always been, a soldier. Only now, the war was for rebuilding, not destruction. I ended the message like this. To those who survived, you are not broken. You are reborn. To those who betrayed us, we are not afraid anymore, and to those who wait in the dark for weakness. I looked at the stars. We're still here. In the days that followed, Earth began to heal. Slowly, painfully, but honestly. The Vanguard became a symbol, not of war, but of truth, of remembering what was buried, of refusing to be used again. Lucid helped build the new framework for ethical AI. Vera became more than code. She became a voice in every rebuilding city. And me? I became something I never expected. Hope. But I didn't stay long. The stars still whispered. The galaxy still held wounds. Others waited in the dark, thinking Earth was vulnerable. I took the Vanguard one last time, alone, into the deep black. Not as a fugitive, not as a weapon, but as a guardian. Because peace wasn't a promise, it was a fight. And I wasn't done fighting yet.